girls. Welcome to another fabulous Training Tuesday. I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight. Um, we are here for Training Tuesday to talk about how you decide like a leader. Say yes to what matters and no to what does not. And I know that this particular topic, if you read any of the promos I did for it to try to lure you in, has overtones of our favorite topic, boundaries. And yes, it does. We're going to talk about that. But what I really want to talk to you about tonight is how we think about that and how we approach that, because the way that we wrap our head around making decisions like a leader and what we say yes to is what makes it easier, much easier for us to choose what we say no to and how we go about that. So that is the topic for tonight. I want you all to take a moment as I intro this topic to you. Take a moment to grab pen and paper or your iPad or your phone or whatever it is you write with, you take notes with, because tonight's going to be a little bit workshop-y. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And if you're here tonight, whether you're watching live or watching in the replay, if you're watching this, it's because something about this topic, about saying yes to what matters to you, about being decisive in a kind of your leadership energy, it resonated with you. So if you're taking the time to watch this, to sit through this, then take the time to take notes too. Because it's those notes that you take that's going to give you the answers that you're looking for, that help you determine what you choose to say yes to and what you choose to say no to. So grab the writing utensil. And hey, Terry, it's good to see you're here. Thank you for joining tonight. So I am a leadership energy coach. What I lean into when I'm working with women is how their energy shows up and how we use that to lead, how we use our energy to make choices to lead. In the program that I was certified through, we look at 7 levels of energy. And energy level 1 is your basic victimhood energy level. Oh, poor me. The world is happening to me. I have no control over this. I can't believe this happened again. Energy level 7 is the energy level where everything is wonderful. Everything's humming and vibrating at just the right way. Nothing's wrong. Nothing can go wrong. What could possibly go wrong? We just roll with it. Now, I'm telling you about the energy levels for a reason. So there's 1 through 7. 1 is the bottom, 7 is the top. There's no leadership happening in level 1 because we're paralyzed, we're stuck, we're frozen. There's no leadership happening in level 7 because level 7 is that level of energy we tap into for inspiration, for rejuvenation. But all the levels in between are different types of leadership. And what I have found in my decade plus of coaching, I keep doing the math and I think I keep doing it wrong, but I believe if I do the math properly, I believe this is year 13? No, 12. 11. See, I can't, don't ever do math live on camera. This is what my coach actually told me, and I just did it wrong. Over 10 years that I have been doing this, I think it's 12 years. I have found that most people have a whole lot of energy in what we call energy level 3. Energy level 3 is the energy level between the victimhood and the leadership. I call it the middle manager energy level. Now, it's important. There's a reason I'm telling you this, is because when we are in energy level 3, and you might find yourself or identify yourself here, but when we're in energy level 3, we rationalize everything. And the tricky thing about rationalizations is that they sound good and they make sense, but they're not necessarily true. They're not necessarily logical. We think they are, but they're not necessarily. And they're definitely not necessarily the best course of action. So we rationalize choices that we make all the time. And because they're rational, because we have reasons that sound reasonable for why we do it, We go forward thinking this was the best thing to do, or this was the only option that I had. So I want you to think about this. Level 3 energy sounds like, well, first of all, level 3 energy, one of the reasons we're there rationalizing is because we are the middle manager. We are trying to keep the people who work for us happy and working and productive, and we're trying to keep our bosses happy and off our backs. So we're constantly juggling this idea that we got to keep everybody happy. Keeping everybody happy means keeping everything on an even keel, so we don't take any risks, because we don't want to disappoint anybody, we don't want to fail, we don't want anybody mad at us. So we really focus on keeping everything as even and smooth as possible. But I think if you think about that, sometimes keeping things like smooth and even as possible isn't really our best option, especially when we start thinking about what's the kind of life we want to lead. Who do we want to be? What kind of leader do we want to be? So, energy level 3 sounds like and looks like something like, I don't really love my job. I'd rather be doing something else, but it's a steady paycheck. But I won't get paid more if I go somewhere else. But my coworkers would be lost without me. Rationalizations. Energy level 3 looks like, this person is not the love of my life, but they're a good person, but they love me a whole lot, but they don't drink, they don't beat me, my mother loves them, whatever it is. Rationalizations sound logical, and they keep us playing small. They keep us in a very safe space. This is what happens. If we are going to if we are going to live the life that we envision for ourselves, if we are going to achieve the goals that somewhere in here we still have, right? Somewhere running around our head are goals that we've probably carried for a long time, for what we think our life should look like, for the kind of life we want to live, for who we want to be, and how we want to show up. If all that's going to happen, we have to break past level 3. We have to start making some new choices. We have to start saying yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. So here's your first question of the night. Because what I want to invite you to do tonight is to think about, how bold can you be? How bold do you want to be? What does this life of yours look like? So the question, those were just things to think. The question is, if I trusted myself 10 times more than how I trust myself today, what would I choose to do next? If you trusted yourself 10 times more, if you had 10 times more confidence in your capabilities, more faith in the vision that you have for yourself, 10 times more trust in your resilience that whatever happens next, you're going to figure it out. 10 times more. So today, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're at a 2, that would be, you're now at 20. If you're at a 5, it would be 50. If you were already, heck, I'm confident, I'm already at a 10, then lady, you're at 100. You're at 100. If you were 10 times more confident in yourself, more trusting of yourself, what would you choose to do next? And that's what I want you to write down. And you're welcome to share it in the chat as well if you are so bold and feel so inclined to share. But that's the question for tonight. That's the leading question for tonight, because that answers everything else. What is it you see for yourself? What is the bigger future, the vision? How do you want to live? What does that lifestyle look like? What does that career trajectory look like? The only way we make bold choices is by knowing what we're even going after, right? To know what we're aiming for. And you don't have to know the details. I mean, if you have the details, great, write them down too. But if you don't, that's okay. It's not the details. It's not the exact job title. It's not the exact paycheck. It's not the exact size of the house or whatever the other things are in your life that you're striving towards, right? Perfection at this particular task or job or hobby or whatever it is. It's directionally. Where are you headed? And what do you want to feel like? Because when you know directionally, this is where I'm going, this is the path I see for myself, this is the path that leads me to a life that I would really love to live. I want the cozy cabin in the woods. I want my 6 cats and my dog. I want, I want to have a garden where I grow my own vegetables. Whatever your vision is, I want to live in a high rise in the city. Whatever your vision is, when you know what that is, you start you start making the bold choices to get there, and you start to have clarity on what do you need to protect in order to make that vision happen. Hey, Jackie, I see you've joined us. Welcome. Thank you for joining tonight, too. Oh, Terry, good one. Okay, if you were more bold, you'd be a VP of a company. Awesome. Keep that in your mind and write that down. And if there are any details around what kind of company or what kind of VP or size of the company or any of the other details around that life and that lifestyle that you're looking for, that career trajectory that you're looking for, that's what you write down. Because, like I said, the only way that we start making the choices that get us there is by knowing directionally, right, what we're aiming for. So now, let's think about that direction. Where you're heading. So for Terry, it's on a VP corporate track. For somebody else, it might be, I'm ready to start my own business. Or if I had more confidence in myself, I would start my own business. If I had more confidence in myself, I'd go after that promotion or that raise. If I had more confidence in myself, I'd pick myself up and move to a different country. What would it be? As you think about that, now think about, where are you in your life right now? Because where you are in your life right now, what do you have that you want more of? What do you want more of in your life that you already have right now? So it could be that you've got a great group of friends and you definitely want more friends and more friend time in your life. It could be that actually you do love your job and where you're at, so you want to keep that going on a proper trajectory, right? You don't want to mess that up. You want to keep that going. It could be that your relationship is great. It could be that you love where you live. It could be any number of things. I know for me, I showed you guys last week how bad I am at pottery, just really bad. I showed you guys my examples last week. But the truth is I love it, despite the fact that I'm not good at it and that I'm still learning how to do it and that it is a long, slow process. But I love it. I want more time to play around with dirty clay in my life. Terry Scott, want more adventure. All right, there you go. So what do you want more of in your life right now? And also write down, what do you want less of? So I want more pottery in my life. I want more time outdoors, getting physically fit in my life. That's an area that I feel like I let down in the last couple of years. I need to build that back up. What do I want less of? I want less of the corporate politics. I want less of the corporate politics affecting me, right? I want to let less of that into my life. They can do whatever shenanigans they want to do. I want less of that impacting me. What do you want less of in your life? I want less of this very weird, cold, rainy weather we're having on June 10th. It's June 10th and I had my space heater on this morning. I want less of that. It's June. I want less of that. So as you think about what you want more of, what you want less of, less drama. Exactly right, Terry. Less drama would be amazing. As you think about what you want more of and what you want less of, then write just a couple sentences. What do you want your life, your work, your energy to feel like in the next 6 months and in the next 12 months? Not forever. We're not trying to get to that end goal. We're just trying to get through. If we get through the rest of this year and the start of next year, knowing what we want more of, knowing what we want less of, what's the energy we're bringing to the table here? What is it going to look like and feel like if we're coming forward on the path that we've set out for ourselves? Now, what this leads to, what this leads to is the boundary part. And we struggle with the boundary part because conceptually, we often think of boundaries as here's the wall and nothing can come in. That's my boundary. Which, yeah, okay, we can look at boundaries that way, but also, boundaries are what allow us to bring in and keep in what's good for us. If the choices you're making, right, if the choices you're making every day, if the choices you're making about your career, if the choices you're making about how you spend your time aren't aligned to your vision, right, to that vision of what's the bold choice you would make if you were 10 times more trusting of yourself, if the choices you're making today, every day, aren't aligned with that vision, then the choices you're making, they're distractions. The choices you're making are distractions dressed up as a vacation because you put your money somewhere that you didn't want it to go, dressed up as fancy clothes that you spent money on, dressed up as time spent doing good works, volunteering or with family that you didn't really want to do. We rationalize and make good reasons for all the things that are those distractions, but the truth is that's exactly what they are. If we are not making steady and conscious choices in alignment with the vision that we have for ourselves and for the life we want, we are saying yes to distractions. And this is where the rationalizing brain comes in. It's great. The rationalizing brain is so smart and so convincing because it's like, but I have to go to my mother-in-law's for dinner every Saturday night. They expect that. We've been doing it for 10 years. That's what we do. Yes. And you can make the choice that that is what you will continue to do. But if that's not what you want, and if having dinner at your mother-in-law's every Saturday night for the next 10 years is not really in alignment with the vision you've got for yourself, you do have the choice to not go. You have the choice to have the conversation that says, love having dinner every Saturday night. However, got some other things I'm working on in my life. We're going to come once a month, every other week. Your child is going to come, but I'm going to come once a month or every other week. Remember, it's the in-law, right? And that's just one example. We commit to and give our time to things without really thinking about it because we allow these obligations that we think are non-negotiables to run our lives, and they're not non-negotiables. But sometimes when we think about it, we're like, the stress and the argument with my mother-in-law isn't worth reclaiming Saturdays. I'm going to find another way and another time. I'm going to keep going to dinner. You can absolutely make that choice. What I'm saying is make it a conscious choice. Because the conscious choice is if I'm giving my Saturdays up to that becomes part of the life I'm building for myself, and I'm okay with that. If there's other things I want to do with my time, I've got to carve it out somewhere else. But this is how we make conscious choices about our boundaries, because the boundary is Saturday nights are at my mother-in-law's or not. The boundary is I shut down my work phone and my work email every day by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. That's a boundary. That's a boundary that's not about shutting work out as much as it's about protecting the life you want to lead, protecting time with your family, protecting time for yourself. I don't check emails over the weekend. Again, you can look at it as a boundary that's blocking work out, but really it's a boundary about my weekend is my time to live my life this way. So we think about how do we make choices that align with the vision that we want to have and not distractions that we rationalize really well, but they're really just distractions wearing nice clothes, nice shoes. So another example of this is one of the visions I have for myself is being able to spend more time with my parents who live out in Phoenix where it's sunny and hot. So what I said I wanted less of, I want less of this weather. I want less of this weather. Um, I can't control the weather. So there's no point in me trying to figure out the boundary around Massachusetts weather because it is what it is. I have zero control over that. I do have control over where I spend my time. So part of my vision is that within the next couple years, I want to have my own place out in Phoenix area so that I can visit my parents when I want. I can stay as long as I want. I can get some natural vitamin D, which would be great. But to do that, I need money for the investment. So if I'm saving money to buy a place, then the money I have can't go to pay for those distractions of nice clothes or a new car or choices I had to make this year. Work on this house. I had 2 projects I wanted, one big project, one small project, or money that goes towards my down payment for the next place I want. What's more important to me, fixing this house up in a different way, or the lifestyle where I can have a second place out in the Southwest? Those are choices you have to make. The choices are, do I want to save up enough money for the thing that I want, which means saying no to the vacation that I had planned, saying no to the renovation that I wanted to do, right? It means saying no to some things, keeping out the things that are sucking my money away. It means saying no to getting coffee at Starbucks every day, which I don't do anyway, honestly, but still, you get the idea. Boundaries are about what we want in our life. So my boundary around not spending money on the vacation that I initially had planned, the renovation I had initially had planned, it's not about keeping out bad things. It's about making sure that I am making choices that build me towards the goal that's more important to me. And right now in my life, the goal that's more important to me is being able to spend more time with my parents. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about boundaries. What do you need to say no to so that you can say yes to the vision? That's what you want to write down. What do I need to say no to so I can say yes to the vision? Because I had to sit down, we all do, we have to sit down and make the list of what are the things I was going to do? What are the things I'm saying yes to? Where am I spending my time, right? I've made the commitment that 1, pottery is my thing, even if I'm bad at it. 2, I made the commitment to a friend to train for another half marathon. Well, training for a half marathon takes some time. So for the next 6 months, my free time is going to be spent in the pottery studio and training, which means I have to say no to a couple of weekend trips that I thought I might do. I have to say no to maybe some things in my diet that need to be straightened out if I'm actually going to run 13 miles, right? I need to start making choices and saying no to things that don't allow me to live the life I want, which is being more creative through pottery, being healthier and more fit so that I can run the half marathon by the time the fall time runs around. What boundaries? What boundaries around time, around my energy, around people, around expectations need to shift in order for me to live this life and make this happen? So I just want you to think about one boundary today, because it all starts with the small steps. If we try changing our life altogether all at once, we fail. Just as you're thinking through what you need to say no to, you're just going to pick one. You're just going to pick one. And that one boundary, either it's one that you already have that you just want to reinforce, make a little stronger, right? Shore it up a bit. Maybe make it a little bolder. Maybe you've already made the commitment in the life you want to lead that you're going to go to the yoga studio and you're going to do yoga. And your idea, your vision is I'm going to be there twice a week, every week. But maybe you signed up and right now you go once a week if you're lucky. And you love going, that's not the problem, but finding the time, right? We rationalize how, oh no, I got to respond to that last email. I got to take that last call, all that good stuff. What if then the boundary is I'm committing to the 1 day a week? I'm strengthening that boundary that so yoga is important to me. I want it in my life, so 1 day a week. And you do that for a month or 2 months, and then you strengthen the boundary a little more. And you say, now we're going to make it twice a week, right? We do it in steps and stages that make it easy for us to adopt, because the idea isn't to beat ourselves up over things that we think we're going to fail at or make it really hard and a much harder struggle than it needs to be. It's to step by step build the life you want. Step by step, move to the goals. Move to the goals that you want to see. Every bold life, every bold decision, every bold move is built on thousands and thousands and thousands of very small decisions that you have made. The average person makes 35,000 decisions in a day. In a day, 35,000 decisions. Clearly, a lot of those are automatic. A lot of those are automatic. For the ones that you are consciously making, you have the opportunity to redirect your trajectory, to choose your next bold move, to do it in small increments, do it in bigger increments if you feel so empowered and strengthened to do that. But just remember that the clarity around the vision, the clarity around what you do when you are 10 times more confident in yourself, it's not perfection. That vision is not a perfection vision. It's a compass. It's directional. So I'm inviting you, I'm asking you to think about what is the next bold move you can make? What is the next conscious decision you're going to make of those 35,000 decisions you make every day? And give yourself some credit, because when you think about that, 35,000 decisions is what our brain processes every day. No wonder by the time it's like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, exhausted. We're tired. Our body is drained. Our brain is drained. So what do? Well, okay, I say we. I mean me. What do we? We don't feel like cooking dinner. So we go to DoorDash. We go to McDonald's down the street. We grab something quick and easy and we shove it in our mouth, and it feeds a craving. That's not going to help me run better. That's not going to help me feel healthier. But I'm so tired because I made 34,000 other decisions already by the time we got to this point. So give yourself a little grace and cut yourself a little slack for the fact that this is a real thing that's happening. Your brain is constantly working. Of course you're tired, but it means you can start making some conscious decisions to set you up for success. A conscious decision I make is to try to spend at least a few hours, it ends up usually being somewhere between 2 and 4 hours over the weekend, where I just hang out in my kitchen and I cook. And I at least have a couple of meals then set for the rest of the week, so that when I hit the point where I am tired and I'm really tempted to just go grab a cheeseburger, I have something healthier and hopefully better tasting, more appealing in my fridge that I can just reheat or mix up a little and cook. Conscious decisions. Because the bold move isn't that I'm cooking on Sundays. The bold move isn't that I'm putting healthier things in my body. The bold move is that I want to be fit and run a half marathon in 6 months. To do that, we've got to make the small little choices that get us there. I got to pick out of those 35,000 decisions whirling in my brain. I've got to pick the ones that are going to get me on the right track. I want you to give yourself permission. I'm going to give you the permission, but I don't run your life. You do. So I want you to give yourself permission to let the vision you wrote down when you said, if I were 10 times more trusting of myself, what would I do? That vision. Give yourself permission to let that vision lead. Let that vision make the choices, make the decisions, say yes, and let that vision say no. Let that vision help you understand what are the things you need to change, shift, put boundaries around, limit in your life so that you can say yes to the vision that you have for yourself. You can say yes to the life that you want to lead. When we can stay true to our vision, we stay in alignment of our values. When we are in alignment of our values, we make decisions that keep us feeling productive, that keep us feeling content, that keep us on a path and that proactively create the good luck, the good fortune, the environment, the lifestyle, the career that you want to have. But it's all about clarity on that bold vision and choosing the steps you're going to take to get there. Choosing decisions every single day, little ones, little baby ones, that get you closer to becoming that person, that vision that you've set up for yourself. All right, dirty girls, that is tonight's training on how we decide like a leader, say yes to what matters, say no to what doesn't. It takes practice. If you would like to talk more about your bold vision, about how you say yes, how you say no, what your next step is, then I invite you to a free coaching call with me, a Dirty Girl Dig Chat, where we will spend about 15 minutes together on the phone and just go through what we think this vision is. Where do you think you're going with this vision? What do you need to do next that's going to empower you and help you feel stronger around your boundaries to get you there? So I'm inviting you to a call with me. It's a free coaching call. It's just a coaching call. It's not a sales pitch. But it is to get clarity. It's to get clarity and a bold next step for you to take the next step in creating your vision. If you would like to have that conversation, we call it a Dirty Girl mini dig because it's a short little dig into you and the vision you want to create for yourself. I invite you to drop the word dig or mini dig in the comments. I will reach out to you to set up that time. So the word mini dig in the comments if you'd like to have a chat. Otherwise, my friends, decide like a leader. Say yes to what matters. Say no to what doesn't. Stay true to your vision for who you are and what you are all about. You got that. And I will talk to you next week. Have a great week, Dirty Girls.